You're watching Racing360 as we continue our preview of Australian racing's biggest week of the year. We've had a look at the Victoria Derby. Now it's time to have a look at the Melbourne Cup, the $6 million Melbourne Cup run on the first Tuesday in November. You'll see all of Melbourne Cup Day action live in Hong Kong. 6 races coming your way. Starting early, the first race, the Schweppes Tonic at 10:15. It's a great day.
Starting nearly as early as those that will be going to the race day in Melbourne, up probably 7 o'clock local time, getting on the train, heading up to Flemington, dressed in their best attire. Whether that attire lasts for the day is the big question when you're hustling and busting with over 100,000 people.
A lot of high heels being carried at the end of Melbourne Cup Day. It's a cultural phenomenon though. It really is the race that stops the nation, and a very special day for all Australians.
Well, it stops the world these days, doesn't it? The global influence on this race grows each year, and the French have proven to be unbeatable in recent years, with Dunedin winning the race last year and Americain the year prior to that. And both horses will line up in the field on Tuesday. Yeah,
we certainly see what you've mentioned there reflected in the order of entry, Joe, with Dunedin and Americain right up the top, and Red Cadeau, who was just nosed out last year, back again this year. You've got Jacklebury and Winchester. You've got the likes of Senegas and Mount Athos, Lucky Day. Green Moon, Brett Preble will be riding from Hong Kong, has received clearance from the stewards to ride as well. Glencairn Gold, there was some discussion whether he would take his place, and Tactor Boostrong.
For Olivia Deleuze, late replacement. It's funny, with the order of entry, you expect a rate of attrition, and the Racing Victoria stewards have been on some sort of witch hunt looking for horses that aren't sound or aren't up to it with the vet checks, but no one wants to give up their place, and with $100,000 Australian for 10th, why would they, even if they are out of form?
So just to reiterate, for those that aren't familiar, 24 runners will take their place or are set to take their place, and Saturday afternoon is when that field will be confirmed. So when we preview this, of course, we're going through the leading chances, but there is still a little bit of water to go under the bridge between now, confirmation day on Saturday, then of course Tuesday itself.
Speaking of leading chances, Dunedin looks a very good hope of making it back-to-back wins in the Melbourne Cup after winning the Caulfield Cup recently. Took a few by surprise with this win, didn't he?
Didn't take you by surprise.
No.
You stuck strong, and at this point here, Joe, you must have been thinking you are a good horse, aren't you? How about the heart that he shows?
Yeah, pins the ears back with great determination. Hits the line here over a high-class Caulfield Cup field. And Americain finding the line very strongly as well. And interestingly, he'll have a new rider on Tuesday.
Yeah, he comes into it with Damien Oliver aboard, knows what it takes to win this race, and I think if he can get any semblance of cover and be a little bit closer, he's a big chance with the weight turnaround. For mine, Dunedin, that was a career best performance there. You know, he was great in last year's Cup. We saw him here in the Hong Kong bars, wait for age, do it there as well, and as you said, pin the ears back and show that great competitive spirit. But the quality of that win, I don't know if a kilo penalty is enough to stop him.
That's a significant thing, a kilo. Will that be enough?
Dunedin has to carry 59 kilos in Tuesday's Melbourne Cup. Aboard, as always in Australia, Craig Williams.
They flew in from France, and he was here for this last piece of work, and the way that the horse felt in his work, the way that he let down, the way that he ran his last 600, and most importantly, the way that he extended and recovered after the work was right on target for Tuesday.
Did you notice the difference between the Caulfield Cup and today?
I felt that he knew the win. He knew that he's had a win, because when I let him recover after his first trot and canter laps, before I went to gallop him, I went to change my seat in the saddle, and he knew that he'd won. He's quite a confident horse. He went off very free and very fresh, but after 2 furlongs, I was able to get him to switch to settle down. But the way that he worked before the Caulfield Cup and the improvement that he had today, I'm really confident going into the Melbourne Cup.
From afar, he's such a big and imposing horse. I was really taken by his athleticism today. I mean, he's really light on his feet, and he's got some great acceleration, and even through the line today was the best part of his work. After the line, he just wanted to keep going. So, as we know, he's a great 2-miler, and that's when he gets to Flemington on a big track, it's really going to be his biggest asset.
What did you make of his run with Caulfield Cup?
Yeah, I thought it was a terrific run. Caulfield's probably not an ideal track for him. So he's got good form at Flemington. I expect that to be even a bigger bonus for him.
So Damien Oliver goes on to American for the first time in the Melbourne Cup, and in recent days the horse has been heavily supported in the betting and he's now the favourite.
Yeah, outright favourite for the race, and obviously the market warming to Damien Oliver being on board. Gerard Mosse actually won on him a couple of years ago and was a victim of circumstances last year on American when spat out the back at a very important tactical time and lost the spot to the eventual winner in Dunedin. Going back to the Caulfield Cup again, often, Michael, you look at this race and look for a horse running on and say, well, that's the horse that I want. And so you look outside of the first 5 or 6. Are there any back in the field here that you think can improve enough to be competitive?
I don't think so. I don't think we can't ignore the obvious that Dunedin was dominant. Here, when we look at the horses that are back in the field there, I think they're all horses that drew well. Lights of Heaven, Zabilionaire drew one, and they just got the suck run along in the field. I don't think they're better than Place Hopes, and yeah, you are looking for the horse that flashes home late, but those two, the strongest two, were Dunedin and American.
Yeah, Glencairn Gold was the favourite in the Caulfield Cup, was very poor. Vale Ichi set on pace was terrible as well. There were some pretty ordinary runs and you wonder whether they're going to be able to turn it around for the Melbourne Cup horses like that. What
I liked hearing was that Craig Williams is full of praise for Dunedin and feels that he's only improved since the Caulfield Cup, so that's enough for mine. Ethiopia is an interesting young horse and I think one of the best of the Australian contingent lining up in the Cup. He won the ATC Derby as a 3-year-old earlier this year and his run in the Cox Plate last Saturday was outstanding.
What I liked about this run is it's against his normal pattern. It was a real shock decision to go forward. He showed good tactical speed to take up a position. His Derby winning came from last from a pretty close, like a great furlong long sprint. So he can do it both ways. I can see him, that's an important attribute here in a Melbourne Cup, to be able to take up a position early and then relax.
He's the type of horse, he's around 15 to 1 now, draws favourably, say from 10, 5 out to 10, that sort of draw, and gets a soft run. I think the Australian public will really warm to him in the betting. I know there's a lot of strength and depth around the international runners, but wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit of money come for the horse if draws a favourable alley.
One of the biggest owners in Australia, Lloyd Williams, has tasted success in the Melbourne Cup, though it's been a while. His last victory with the Grey Efficient. He saddles up Moraine in the race. This horse can be a bit in and out. We haven't seen him in the winner's circle for a while, until recently in the Craven Plate in Sydney when he finally broke through.
Yeah, this horse will be ridden by Hugh Bowman, and Hugh made one statement about the horse during the week and said that he worked exceptionally well, and he was in fact very confident that Moraine is going to be able to run a good race with a view to Tuesday's Melbourne Cup. So from Hugh, who has been on his back, that's something to respect. Personally, I don't really like the preparation, but
I don't think he's got the quality to win a Melbourne Cup, to put it flatly, but he does run 3,200 metres. He'll be there in the finish, and he's the sort of horse that you can see at odds ruining someone's tierce or trio.
I think Green Moon, though, of the Lloyd Williams horses is the one.
Yeah, and Brett Preble will be flying over and had some place success riding for Lloyd a few years ago with Say Laguerre, so would be wanting to go a bit further and win the race with Green Moon.
Last year's Melbourne Cup was the tightest finish in the history of the race. As we go to a break on Racing 360, let's relive the Dunedin Red Cadeau Quinella.